headset. Maybe that's it. Testing. Ah, there we go. All right, so I do have all right, so that's good. All right, good. I think that's a good place to start. It should be streaming now. I'm going to pop up real quick website just to see that it's streaming on Twitch. So this is going to cause an issue. I'll close it right away. Should create some ugly echo. I'll close it right away. Yep. All right. I'm looking to see if there's some video here. Should create some ugly echo. I'll close it right away. Yep. All right. I'm looking to see if there's some video here. Should create some ugly echo. Perfect. All right. Looks like everything is running. Feel free to use the chat. I am keeping that open and watching. All right. So first thing, there is a player version of the TTS mod. It's really just a super basic table. Actually, it's not super basic, but it is really close. I'm going to go into my work mods. So this is the basic table. All right, I'm going to load this up. And first things first, when you load, you'll want to watch up here and you'll see there isn't a lot to load. It loads really quickly compared to previous versions of the table, like the old version that you can get on the Steam Workshop. This one loads pretty snappy, but it still does. Okay, so let's see. Just going to put ask questions here. All right. So the loading is complete, but there's still more going on. Notice down here it says Hero System loading, and this started up again with a percentage as it loads the second part of all the code and the objects, and so it kind of loads in phases. This will go through twice. Okay. All right, so we're going to wait for it to finish responding, and then down here it's going to make some progress, 20, 40, 60, and so on. Okay, so this is going to be a kind of a workshop for the players of the New Champions Protocol game. So we're just going to wait for some of those folks to pop in. I'm going to load this one more time because I sent a link through the Discord. We do have a Discord, and I'm also going to load up our New Champions Protocol homepage just for those playing the home game here, so you can kind of see this is the New Champions Protocol homepage. And so it's at worldanvil.com, and then W, and then new-champions, and then game night with a 1 instead of an I. So that is the New Champions Protocol homepage. And from here, you should be able to see our Twitch stream anytime that we're running it. This will come live on here. You can join the Discord, so all right from the main page. And there's also the campaign ground rules and how to get started. So you want to, if you're interested in getting involved in the game, you can click how to get involved, and that will link you to the other articles that talk about what you need to do to get started. So all of these, I'll just double check. This stream is working. We do have audio. Sorry to make it duplicate for you. But this new Champions Protocol page is available online, and please, love to hear your feedback and comments. There are session reports as well. So these, let's see, I believe recent articles is where we end up with reports, and they have links to our YouTube videos, etc. that show. So this is actually our first game using this new table that I have here. So let's talk about that. Should be able to see the tabletop here when you first load into any table. You always start as the white player, but to do some of the things that we're going to do today, it's very helpful to be the black player. So we're going to change color and choose black. And when we do that, it pops up the full mod, and this actually is the controller for the Hero mod. And we'll get into that a little bit later when we talk about how to test. So I'm going to just move this out of the way, just down to the bottom of the screen, so that's kind of out of the way from everything else we're doing. This is not, one of my players is asking if they can join in TTS, and so we're not going to do a multiplayer game or anything in TTS today. What we're going to do is show you how to do all this on your own pre-game. So this is before the game, or if maybe you're prepping to run your own game, you want to play around with the Hero System mod and run a game for your friends or other people, then or enemies maybe. Maybe you want to run a game for your enemies. This is going to give you a chance to see how to prepare your character sheet and so on for. All right, so question from Pan Piper: if I load the Hero System mod in a table, I generate as single player, it looks different. Should I be downloading a newer version? Yes. Okay, so that's an excellent question to start with. Thanks, Pan Piper. I am going to show you. So if you click on games and go to workshop, this is only going to work if you are friends with me, because this new version of the table is kind of only shared. I really haven't had any interactions with the Hero mod creator to get permission to just distribute this new version of the Hero mod. And so I don't want to do that. So it's really locked down to only people who are friends with me in Steam. We have to be Steam friends for to be able to see my friends only Steam workshop. And so what you'll want to do is browse, and when you do that, because we're in Tabletop Simulator, it starts at the Tabletop Simulator workshop. And so you'll need to be friends with me, and I believe that there is a place to do that, and I'm not really sure where we can look at friends. Hold on a second. That's a good question. I think there's a way to show me just friends workshops. In which case, if we're Steam friends, which means that you're in my game with me, then you will be able to access this. So I'm not really sure. However, the name of the mod actually has the keyword JSON in it. And so if you hit that, you'll get a few, but you're got to be most looking for mine, and maybe it's not going to come up here. I mean, I already have it, so it should just be subscribed for me, but there's a lot of things in there that refer to JSON. So let's see if I'm going to let's close that so we don't just broadcast all of my friends everywhere. Maybe if you go into friends, I wonder if I could see a friends thing. I should have looked that up before I started this workshop, because you do need to be friends with me and be able to see friends. Game groups workshop. So I think there's a way to items, collection, subscribed. I am not sure. I know that if you are friends with me and you do a keyword search, the name is Hero Mod for JSON Export v3. So that's the actual name of this table I've loaded. Hero Mod for JSON Export v3. So let me see, if we go in here and we load up and type in Hero Mod, Maybe that's enough to bring it up. So there's the old, This is the original that's available by Brennell. He's the creator of this awesome programming. But man, there's a lot because it's looking for hero. So it's the fact that it's, oh, here it is, friends items. So when you do a search, you should be able to pull up friends favorites, friends items, followed authors. So I think if you do friends items, it should bring up, yeah, so Brendel and I are friends, Murder Hobo and I are friends, so I get to see some of his stuff, right? So we can just bring up friends only, okay? So that allows us to subscribe, and you would hit the plus right here to subscribe to that new mod. Then it will show up here inside your workshop, and then we can load it. So I'm going to load it again just so you can see what it looks like loading back up from scratch. So you see this will go up to 100% twice. The first time I think loads just the basic environment, and then it begins loading code and all that kind of stuff. Okay, so the trick here is to be patient while it does that. So Panpiper, I hope that answered your question. You will want to get the new mod table that I have, because that is also the latest ultra super beta with this controller in it. So now once we're done, this pops up, and then we're waiting for the hero mod to finish loading. And so at this point then you can change colors, but otherwise you just kind of wait for the whole table to load. And when you get hero system loaded, then all right, so how do you friend people? That's coming up because it looks like I have a couple players that aren't friends of mine because they haven't played in games. I only launch my games in to friends, so that way I don't have people trying to join the game that I don't expect to join. So how do we do friends? So let's go back to games and workshop and browse, and that's going to bring up all of this, and I believe we can go to friends. No, right here, and then I can add a friend. So someone gave me their friend code, and add a friend, and then I'm going to enter a friend code right here, and there he is. So I'll send him an invite to be friends. So there we go. That's what's needed to become friends on Steam. You take your friend code, you copy it, and then paste it to someone else. Okay? All right. So Beast, you should be able to jump in there. Yep. Not in Discord chat. On Twitch. All right. So, Panpiper. Patience is the only virtue that is not technically a handicap. Perhaps. Topmost left menu in Steam, not TTS. Okay. Should be able to do almost everything inside of TTS because it interfaces directly with Steam. Obviously, it's a Steam game, so should be able to do everything we've done here. So now we've got this table loaded. We're going to do some other things too. So let me load, let me pull up. Not necessarily the newest version of Hero Designer, but a 6th edition, and the build I'm using. So I would say this is probably, let's close this character. All right, so this is probably the oldest version that you should use. So I'm going to put it up here. You should have a newer build, or this build, of Hero Designer 6. So build 2020-1025 is the one I currently am running, and it seems to work just fine with the hero mod, exporter, and all that stuff, which is what's important here. The hero mod exporter is we're going to set export format just so I can show you what it is. I have downloaded this from our Discord. Okay, so I downloaded this from the Discord. We have it in our need help area so that you can grab that. It's pinned there. And I located it in my Hero Designer folder. So when I go here, this is where I've saved this. It's an HDE file. And when you open it, you can look and see that it's version 3.1. Okay, so that is kind of the latest one that Brendel has given us because we're kind of beta testers for this whole thing. And so that's what we're playing with right now. So you'd want to use this 3.1. Okay, so make sure you get that out of our Discord. And then you can export characters to that format. All right, so you load your character, and I wanted to point out something here as well, kind of a trick that I have learned. I have created powers at the top of my list of powers that mimic all of these other real powers. So these are his real powers, and their point values are accurate, and endurance cost is accurate, and so on and so on. Okay, so all of these are laid out with all the advantages, disadvantages, but my powers are kind of complex because they're all hand-to-hand attacks that add to strength. And so it's a compound power. And because it's a compound power, one thing the Hero mod doesn't do very well is combine strength dice with hand attack dice. Okay, so this +6 dice, it doesn't have my strength added in, and especially when the strength has some extra stuff added to it, like this is a double knockback power, so I had to add double knockback to my strength as a naked advantage so that it would go, and I added into this power. So that way, this is the full hand attack, which I think is 8 dice or something. Let's see. So it's a 15 strength, so it's 11 dice, 6, 7, 8, 9. 9 dice, right, because this is a 6 die attack. So up here, this is called the Repeller, right? Repeller. And so I created a Repeller, and I just put the description so you can see how it looks. Let me open this window for you. So this is the Repeller, and I wrote in what it really is. 3d6 hand, right? Plus 66 HDH, double knockback, and then I have an endurance battery for the power side. This all is built into an exoskeleton. So I'm using 1 endurance of my own power and 4 endurance from the endurance battery. Okay, so for a total of 5 endurance. And if we look at the Repeller down here, whoops, can't really do anything now that I've opened this window. But so what I've done though is I have put a custom adder on this power and zeroed out the active cost or real cost. I zeroed it out. So that way it doesn't add to my point totals. And then I added a note. So I added a note that says for JSON export only. And you'll see when I load up this JSON file what that does. It puts all the stuff that I really need to use in combat at the top of the Hero mod character sheet. So that's a little trick I learned, like to pass that on to you. Makes it so much easier because some of these powers load without any name for the power. And oh, Pam Pappy, you figured that out for yourself? Awesome. Yeah, to do this up at the top of your character makes it really easy when you load it in. You just have to remember that if you add a new power, you might need to add another zero cost, thing for the JSON export up here at the top. So, all right, so this is the character. And so with that character loaded, and I'm assuming that you've handed us this HDC file, we look at it, we obviously see, oh, these are just for the JSON export, good job. And then we look through other powers to make sure we're all cool on everything, and when you get your GM stamp of approval. And so when you have that, you can come in here to your current character and you can export. And the first thing you want to do is set the export format. So you may have already set it to HTML or something else. So right now you want to set it to the JSON format, version 3.1. You hit select, and then you can do an actual export. And so we export to file. And so what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this someplace really easy. How about desktop? All right, so I'm going to just save it to my desktop. All right, so I have saved it to my desktop. I now have a JSON file on my desktop somewhere. I have too much crap on my desktop. All right, hold on a second. I'm going to just make sure I can locate that. Yep, okay. So I don't think you can see this, but there is a file here that's on my desktop, and I dragged it over just so you could see it. All right, so here's the deal. I'm going to make sure I can open up my chat again. That's not it. Oh, it's in OBS. Okay, so I can see the chat now, making sure I don't miss anything if you guys ask a question. All right, so I've exported this. I really don't need this anymore. We're done with Hero Designer. Okay, so in Tabletop Simulator, I've loaded my own table, so I'm the owner of the table right now, the host, right? I'm the only person in here, and I've switched to black. So that makes me the GM, okay? I am the game master. All right, so now that I've got this table, I am the GM, and this table doesn't have anything on it except the hero mod stuff. And let me tell you, let me show you to practice. This hero mod has these bags down here that set up all the different place settings. So if I want to do the blue player, I would click place, and now it loads up all the stuff for the blue player, okay, which is over here. So I'll put this stuff out. You can see the other players don't have that stuff, okay? And because it puts a tablet, it always asks permission because you can preload a URL. So you're just going to hit open, that's fine. It just loads that tablet page in there. So it's just the Google homepage. And you don't need to say this because it's just built in. Again, it's live internet, which is why it asked for permission on that. So I don't even know. Anyway, we don't really use this during the game. It's just there for reference if you need to go look at something on the internet. All right, so we've loaded the blue player, but I could place all the players. The reason why they're in these bags is the table seems to load a lot faster when it's put away in a bag. And these are memory bags, so you can just recall that, and it brings them all back again. But everything you need to do to test, you can do as the black player, okay? For the most part. I mean, it's good to test it with another color so that you can just make sure that you're good. So we could even just put the yellow player, the gold player down. So let's place that. All right, so you can see it just puts it right out, okay? All right, so here we are with the black player loaded, and now I'm going to bring out my mini. Now I have created a mini, so I'm going to go into Objects, Saved Objects. I've created a miniature already, and so under Heroes, I've got some Hero minis out here, and I've already got one for EXO. I created it in Heroforge, and so I've got this asset bundle I exported from Heroforge, and he's pretty cool looking, right? So I'm pretty proud that you know, I made a guy that is just in a black suit. Yeah, right? So boring. But there he is. And he's got his little mask on over his face, so he's a nondescript humanoid person. Very good. So the trick here then is to move this kind of up toward the top so you can get to the menu. And you can right click, and you see that on this mini I already have this URL in the GM notes. Okay? So I'm going to zap this. So Control A, delete. All right. So now this is what yours may look like. It just may say GM or GM notes. That's all it says. Okay. Only visible to black. Okay. So what you want to do is we've got our little JSON file exported, right? So we're going to go to the modding tab and you go to Cloud Manager. So I'm going to go in here first and pretend this isn't here. I'm going to delete it. Okay. And every time you update your JSON, you'll want to delete the old one and upload a new one, and then go change the URL on your mini, because every time you upload it, uploads it unique. Even if it's the same name, it'll make two of them. And so it'll be confusing. You don't know which one is which anymore. And so that's what you should do. All right. You should delete it first. All right. So again, I'm going to go to modding, Cloud Manager. I have created a folder to organize some of the things I've uploaded, so I can kind of keep it. I've got some D&D stuff here, some hero stuff here, JSON, blah, blah, blah. Okay, so I've got some different things in here, and it's a really good idea to put them in a good place first, like upload it to the right place first. Okay, so Pad Piper is asking, how do you get the mini into the objects folder? Gotcha. Okay, so let's back up since we talked about that. How did I get this mini into the game? All right, so there are some videos out there of how to do this, but basically, what you for some reason my headset thinks I'm idle and so it mutes. It kind of goes power out. It's a wireless thing, so sorry about that. All right, so what you would do is you would create a new object. So you go to Components and then Figurines, right here. And one of the figurine types is Custom. And so you do Custom. Oh, no. My bad. Let me back up. It is Custom Asset Bundle. So is that under Tools? No. Where is it? Custom. Sorry, it's right here. So under Custom, you see Asset Bundle as a type. And so you should get that asset bundle. And when you put it out, it's going to say, what do we do with that asset bundle? It needs a main, a secondary, blah, 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 right? So we would need to get an asset bundle. So you can download that from Heroforge. I'm not going to do that. I wasn't planning on doing that here, so I'm not going to do it right here. But what I am going to do is I have saved online an asset bundle, I'm pretty sure. Let's see. Looking for it right now. Give me a sec. An asset bundle will end in Unity 3D. All right, so here's a good one. Let's see. One of the players early on sent me their asset bundle that they downloaded. So I have a GitHub and I put it in GitHub so that it would be available. So I'm just going to go to this Unity 3D and then I'm going to hit download with my right click and I'm going to copy the link. So now I have a link, so I'm going to put that in the main. Pretty sure where that goes. And I'll go ahead and leave it plastic, but I'm going to make it a figurine. Okay, and this just adjusts how it's handled by the physics of the game. So you choose figurine, plastic is fine. There are other choices. If you want it, this affects kind of the sound and some of the physics of how it behaves on a table. So we hit import, and there's your figurine. So that's how you do it. I mean, it's really it. If you go to Heroforge and you get it so you can download the Unity 3D asset bundle, you just save that file, and you would do the same thing with your Unity 3D file. You're going to go to Modding, Cloud Manager, and then maybe you could put asset bundles, like create a new folder, right? So let's do that. I'm going to create a new folder, and it'll be a root folder, that's fine, and I'll do asset bundles. No. Let's try that again. Asset bundles. Okay, and I will create that. So now I have a new folder called asset bundles, and I would upload it in here. And then it would be in my cloud, and I could then get the link, and I'll show you how to do that. It's going to upload the JSON file as well. So in here, I'm going to choose this upload local files, and we're going to go to my desktop where I saved that JSON file. I have desktop somewhere, don't I? Desktop. Okay, so there is a JSON file in here somewhere, probably at the bottom because it's XO. I'm going to select XO and I'm going to open it. And then it says, okay, so upload where? So this is the JSON folder. I could choose a different folder if I wanted to. If, for example, you just uploaded it from the root, but you want the file to actually go into a subfolder, gives you a chance to change the folder where it's going to go, and then the name of it, and then I'm going to upload. And it shows up right here. It's not a very big file, pretty tiny, 37K. Now, how do I get the link to that? Well, I'm going to just click on it. And you can see it's given me a link. And I can paste that link into the Discord if I want someone else to be able to see the JSON file. But right now, what we're learning to do is to be totally independent ready, pre-game, have everything tested and working. All right, so that's what we're going to do. I've copied it. So let me delete this because we don't need that now that you've seen how to do that. And then, again, I'm going to move this guy up. That just makes it so I know there's enough room for the menu to show up. And then I'm going to paste that URL right down here. So that's where that comes from. And this is a different URL than what I deleted. So it's important to go ahead and make sure this is the latest one. If you upload a replacement, you can delete the old one. And that link will obviously no longer work anymore, so take the new URL and put it in your mini. The reason why, I will show you why we want you to do this in our game in particular, but it makes us a very portable character. You just import your mini into the game, which you bring it out of your saved objects, and then we're going to save this. Once we do it, we're going to save it again, and I want to put it in my Hero Minis Heroes folder and save. And it'll say, do you want to overwrite? And we'll say, yeah, I do. Okay. So that is it. That's how you save it. And so then you can pull it back out. So I'm going to delete this off the table. And you just go back in and you can now, again, I've created folders to help me try to organize this because I didn't do that initially. And now I have a bunch of crap I got to move around. And boy, that's a chore. So much better to have some folders already so you can just drill in to what you want. We can search. I can do XO and it'll bring it right up no matter what folder it's in. So that's cool. And I have the PDF as well that I have saved because I've uploaded this online and I had a URL, and there is a PDF document reader that you can bring into the game if you want. So, and I'll show you how to do that if you want, but it's really kind of the same thing. You have to be the host of the table, and that allows you to get to that custom menu. So I'm going to bring XO back out on the table. All right, so here's the dude. He's got his URL down here, so I'm going to click down here. So my cursor is in there somewhere. I'm going to do Control A to select the whole thing. It really has selected the whole thing. Even though CB/ at the end doesn't look like it, it really has. It's one of kind of a quirky thing about these text fields is the cursor doesn't always look like where it really is. So that's kind of quirky. But what we're going to do then is we're going to pull this hero mod. Now we're going to test. This is why being the black player is really handy because it's the only place you can put this in. I'm going to click on character, and then I'm going to Control V to paste it in there, and I'm going to click load. It's going to load XO right into there. Ta-da! There he is. All right, so now I have a yellow player loaded, right? It has a die roller out and everything, so that's important. So hold on just a second. As it is, life brings people to the door. Okay, so we have XO loaded. We have the yellow player's tools out. So I'm just going to click on the yellow player and to select. Whoops. Okay, so I'm going to click XO to select him, and then I'm going to click on the yellow player. And that makes XO yellow. Maybe it's hard to see. On my monitor, that's kind of hard to see. So you have all of these blank spaces. I think there's a ton of them, like 50 of them. So you could load up a lot of stuff for your game if you wanted to. But this is where I would get all the players loaded really quick into the game by just loading up their URLs right off of their mini. Grab the URL, paste it in here. Go to the next mini, grab the URL. I have a tool on the GM table that does this more automatically. Over here in the GM area, there's a large card, and you click a button, and it goes and it grabs all the GM notes off of all the objects so that you can just copy, paste, copy, paste, copy, paste. Very, very cool. So now that you're the yellow player, as the GM, you can always right-click on any player character and bring up their sheet. So this is the yellow player sheet. This allows me to go through and see all the players and all the different villains and bring their sheets up. You just right-click and it brings the sheet up. So you can see we've got all of our stats in here, right? We've got our health. We can even, I think this link works. If I click link to figure, it has taken this figure because it's selected already. You can see it's yellow, and it links to that figure. So this figure is linked. So now, even then, maybe you didn't know this, but now under distance, I could select another object like this one, I think. Let's see if I can get up there. All right, so I have selected. Okay, so now it's highlighted yellow, and I think it will give me the distance from my character from here to here, and it says it's 37 meters. Let's just test that. I'm curious. So, da-da. And I'm going to use tab, and I'm going to just drag my little mousey. That is not working. So I think you can still do this. There we go. Look at that. 37. Really close. Maybe it goes to the center of it or something. But there's 37 right there. So pretty slick, I think. So that way you could click another figurine and have it give you the distance to that figurine without you even having to use the ruler. Just click here and it will check the distance from you to something else. So that's pretty cool. Little tidbit. Let's look and see if there's any more questions. Okay. How to get the next mini into the object folder. Oh, you want to know how to get, I'm assuming the yes please has to do with how do you get the character sheet out there. I'm kind of guessing on the timing of that question that I ignored. So we'll look at that. Not essential for now, but it would be nice to know how to get the PDF in the game, maybe another video. Will you be uploading this to YouTube? There are a few things I would want to revisit. Yes, it's going to go automatically over to YouTube with all my initial poking around and testing and all that jazz. All right, so this is how you test. Now, remember, on that character sheet in Hero Designer, we did some powers. So if I go to, these are just statuses. So like if I click this, it'll say XO is now stunned, and I can recover. XO is no longer stunned. So pretty cool. But I want to go to dice rolls. This is the important one. All of these at the top here are my little fakey ones that I put in the character sheet for 0, right? And so that is why I chose to make the descriptions very specific, because I would look and see what it's going to display here. And I've learned to do that. So now if I do this quantum reach, it's just an 11 die attack. I would roll to hit. And it'll say here that I hit a DCV 6, so we'll pretend that hits. And I roll, okay? And it rolls, I think if I do quantum reach, notice it's not rolling the yellow player because I'm the black player right now. It's going to roll the black dice, okay? So here's what you can do that's kind of cool, is you can switch colors, bloop, and I'm going to become the yellow player. So now I see it exactly as if it were at the yellow player, right? Because I just switched to become the yellow player. And if I do dice rolls, I roll to hit, and it rolls my dice here. And if I do just the exo quantum multiplier exoskeleton strike, then it rolls that way. So very cool. And then you can also, just some of the other tools that are on the table is you can hit lay down. The last thing you touch, it'll knock over. Okay, so that's what that is. It just moves it 90 degrees. See, it just bunk, bunk. Okay, and then you can just pick it back up again because it's a mini. Okay, and you tell it to lay down, and he lays down. So that way, if he's stunned or knocked out or what have you, you can lay him down. Okay, don't have to worry about turning him upside down or anything. So let's see if there's any other questions. I'm a wonderful human being. Haha. Okay, so thanks very much. I'm going to wrap up with just a couple more things. If I assign you more than one player sheet, like let's say I have a follower, or you're going to run 2 characters, then this will become 1 of 2 or 1 of 3. And using these arrows will switch to the other character so that you will have access to more than one character sheet. Pretty dang cool. All right. Let's see. All right. So I think that's it. I think I have covered all the bases. Oh, if you try to assign this to a color and that color doesn't have stuff out, so I'm going to hit the recall button, and then you try to do something, it's going to error because the roller's not there. It's trying to roll this roller and it's not out. So do you want to, if you're going to assign it to a player, make sure you come over and you place that player's colors, whatever color that is, place it out there, and then this will work. Okay? My area of attack, area of effect attack. Yay! So it's a 1 meter and it costs endurance. Oh, so then I can mark my endurance down. So I hit here and I will go, that's one of my own endurance. And then if I want to keep track of my endurance battery, I can put 200 here, and then that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I've used 5 or 4, whatever that was, right? Right down here, 1 and 5. So I've done 1 and 5. So very easy to keep track of stuff. If I have charges on a power, I can load these up with charges ahead of time. You'll have to do this every single time you load the character. These are not pulling from your sheet, and they don't save. So it's just more counters if you want to keep track. Like I'm blinded for this many segments, and then every segment you'll want to count it down, and then you'll know you're not blinded anymore. That sort of thing. Okay, so they're good counters to have, easy peasy stuff. All right, let's see. So I said I would show you how to, first off, we're going to go to objects, and let's move this guy out of the way, and components, and custom, and there is a custom PDF, and you can bring that out here, and it goes, okay, so what is the URL to your PDF file? So again, I have uploaded some, but you can do the same thing by uploading the PDF file, right? You can upload the PDF file. So I have some here. I'm just going to grab one. Okay, so let's see. Okay, we'll grab Witchcraft's PDF. So you will have your PDF and you will upload it right into your Cloud Manager. Okay, so I've just done this without Cloud Manager, but yours is the same way. You can go here to Cloud Manager. You can go to PDFs, wherever that is, right? So let's say maybe Hero. Do I have PDFs in here? I do not. So I just have minis and stuff that I put in here when I was first practicing and playing around and stuff like that. So pings and so on that aren't even there anymore. Whatever. So, oops, I wanted to go up. That's this way to go up. Okay, so I don't have any PDFs to demonstrate, but once you upload it just like the JSON file and you click on it, it loads the URL into memory. And then you can just click here and you do Control V and then you hit import. Page offset is if you want to start somewhere besides page 1, right? Otherwise, we now have this PDF, and then you can resize it by hitting the plus key or whatever, and then you put it over in your player area. So I'm yellow, let's say. So maybe I'll put this off to the side over here, and that way I can hit the Alt key and bring it up on my screen, right? And so I can see it now, and then I can go to page 2, right? So you can do that. You can also hit this pop out to screen, and now your character sheet takes up half your screen, but you can go pages on this. Okay, so I can actually look at page 1, page 2. I can use the mouse wheel to go through the pages. I can click somewhere else and keep playing while my character sheet's up. Okay, and I can even do this. All right, well, let's see if I can. If these will fight each other. Nope. This one wins, so I can roll to hit. So I can look over my character sheet and find what I want to do. I can look at my complications, whatever. So you can still load your character sheet in. And then when you're ready to take it off the screen, you just hit the X up here and it stays on your thing. Now, what's also cool is for yellow player, if you're going to play yellow a lot in the game, let's say, you can take these items and you can drop it in this chest. And now it will save from game to game. When we put this away, we can recall it. It brings it back into here. And then the DM saves the table, right? Game Master saves the table. And then when we place the yellow player again, cancel, we can look at these items in the chest. And one of them is the character sheet. So that's a way for you to play. I'm going to play yellow most of the time, but multiple players can put their stuff in here. You can put your mini in here too. So here's the other thing. If we can go out here and you want to save your mini, where is it? There he is. I can just drop him in here too, and then it'll be the saved version. Whoops. I'll put it up here. So now there's 3 items in the chest, right? So you could save your minis in here too, just that remember you cannot, then you don't have to import it into the game, right? That's the advantage to saving it in your chest, is that you don't have to have the Game Master doesn't need to promote you so that you can bring a saved object into the game. It can just be saved. And so you only have to change this object and save a new one in here in this, like delete this old one and bring a new one in when you update the character file, the JSON file. Okay, and then that will, you'll need to bring it back in again or paste the URL here, which you can only do when you host the table. You have access to the Cloud Manager. This modding isn't even here. If you join my game, for example, you won't have access to this. So it's too late when you join the game to try to get to the Cloud Manager to get a URL. You want to have these objects saved and ready so that you can bring them into the game, and then you can save them in the game if this is not going to change. But otherwise, if you want to bring these two things into every single game because they'll be updated and whatnot, great. I think that's fantastic because then I can just pull the URL off of this, right, which I can't see. I can't see it. I'm yellow, right? So it's not even here now. So I could put a real description of my character, right? Black suit, looks like from the movie Men in Black. Okay. And now this description shows up when you hover over, right? So that's it. That's really it. You are now ready and good to go. You've had a chance to test your dice rolls. You know how to modify your HDC file with updates so that the dice rolls work really well and exactly the way you want them to, especially if they're complex powers, compound powers, things like that. Any other questions? I'm going to ask you to put it in the chat, in the Twitch chat, if you have any other questions. If you are watching this and you like the Hero system or you like TTS and you're interested in seeing how all this stuff works, maybe for your own Champions game, or you're interested in following us along in our game, even if you don't want to play, hey, please hit like and subscribe in YouTube as well. And leave comments down below if you have any questions or anything else you'd like to know, maybe a future video. So otherwise, this gives you kind of all-in-one in 45 minutes here of how we do everything that you need to do in order to update your character, bring your mini in the game, etc. Now, even if your miniature is a two-dimensional paper miniature, so let's see, I think we've got lots of those. Maybe not. Like if you grab one off of another mod or something. So here's Thanos, right? So if we want to bring Thanos out here, so there he is. That GM notes is still going to be available if we become black player. Okay, black. And then we go right here. We can put the URL to the character sheet here. Goes my headset again. All right, so we can put the URL to the character sheet right here. And the GM then can pull this out and load it into the Hero mod. So there you go. I'll put maybe another workshop on how to GM and some of the GM tools that I have kept on this table. There's a version of this table that's for GMs. So we can do that too. Now notice that if we pull this all back in, these guys aren't in the chest. So if I recall, there it is. It leaves these two pieces out because I didn't put it inside the chest. So you can store it in the chest or not and just pull them into the beginning of every game so that you have the latest versions with you in your game. Hopefully that answers your questions. Let's see, a couple more questions here. All-in-one tutorial. Good. I'm going to have to rewatch this to get it down. Yeah, that's the main reason I wanted to do this, was so that it would be recorded. You could watch the whole thing. I know it's long, but we really covered everything you need to see. Maybe I'll link it on the website as well so you can see. Okay, so it's going to go to YouTube. Thanks, guys, for joining. You guys have a wonderful Sunday, the rest of your day. Talk to you later.